Parliamentary updates.
A three-day seminar for new and returning parliamentarians was recently hosted by the Office of the Parliament, organized by the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago in collaboration with the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association and ParlAmericas. The post-election seminar was aimed at improving the knowledge and skills members would need to undertake their parliamentary duties. Addressing participants at the opening ceremony was Clerk of the House, Mr. Brian Caesar.
The seminar will focus your attention on key areas of interest so that we can help you as members of Parliament to navigate this parliamentary journey that we have in fact been taking you through.
In welcoming participants, Mr. Caesar urged members to grasp the opportunity.
I therefore encourage your active participation through questions, suggestions, and sharing of experiences. Your engagement will enrich the dialogue and foster a deep understanding of your parliamentary responsibilities.
Also addressing attendees were representatives of the CPA and ParlAmericas.
A core premises of our organisation is the principle that only a fellow Member of Parliament knows and understands what it's like to be a parliamentarian. As such, we have brought together a host of different speakers, members from across the Commonwealth to share their experiences and best practices with you all. Equally important are the clerks and officials that will be joining us to make sure that we stick firmly to the procedural rule book. This short programme, we hope, will provide a basis for ongoing learning and development for the Parliament. Such important roles cannot be mastered in just a few days, so we hope that this will just be the start point for you all.
Supporting parliaments and parliamentarians in fulfilling their democratic functions in service of all people throughout the Americas and the Caribbean is at the core of the mission of ParlAmericas. As the interparliamentary institution of the Inter-American system, we work with the 35 national legislatures of the Americas and Caribbean to foster cooperative political dialogue, facilitate the exchange of good legislative practices, and promote parliamentary diplomacy in order to strengthen democracy and good governance across the hemisphere, and to support our parliaments in effectively and inclusively responding to the pressing issues of the day.
Bringing the feature address was Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Honourable Jagdeo Singh.
Democracy is not an easily achievable goal, as we all know. It is not a one-off solution, and it is not a simple quick fix that matures in one single, perhaps what we may call explosive process. But it is an ever-evolving social, constitutional, legal, and I dare say multifaceted process.
He asked the attendees always to keep the people at the heart of their work.
In this regard, inclusive representation is not just a moral obligation. It is a democratic imperative. A parliament that reflects the full spectrum of society, such as women, youth, ethnic minorities, and marginalized groups, is better equipped to legislate with legitimacy, empathy, and foresight. I am well aware that improvement is always a work in progress, but greater progress has begun in this very room. This two-day seminar cannot simply be theoretical. It calls for a mandate of practical application and service. This is also an opportunity to foster a community of practice, encouraging peer learning and strengthening the bonds that unite us as members of the Commonwealth parliamentary family.
The Parliament channel spoke with some of the participants of the workshop.
It's a timely reminder of some of the basics in terms of Parliament, the processes, the privileges, and all that go with it. Because being a senator for a couple of years, you tend to take some of the basics for granted. So one, it's a timely reminder. And secondly, hearing from the experience of the panelists, those who are presenting, you know, you always learn from others' experience. And I must say that the panelists so far have been excellent. And I have been able to gain a lot from what has been presented.
One of the points that resonated with me came from Mr. Brian Mass, who suggested that as a parliamentary representative, and particularly as a constituency representative, that you need to look for elements that resonate with your constituency, finding issues, finding items really that are of local issues, local benefits, and especially as an opposition MP. Given the fact that resources are not as readily available perhaps as if you're in government, you have to come up with creative ways to be a little more innovative in terms of being able to deliver to your constituents, and so I found that point to be particularly helpful.
First of all, I'd like to express my gratitude for this seminar. It's been informative, and what I expect to learn are some of the tips to navigate this journey as a parliamentarian, particularly for new members of Parliament. It can be daunting because there's a lot of processes, procedures to learn and to absorb. And so it's great to find out what are the things that we should know in the short term, and also to get the experience from the experienced parliamentarians, and not just about practice and procedure, but real things that you can implement simply, like to be balanced in your life as you progress. What I've seen so far has been enlightening, particularly from Minister Teixeira from Guyana. She made the important statements of not just taking up a space, about always being prepared. Also from Ms. Osborne, who spoke about not trying to be everything for everyone, but for being selective about what you know and what you can contribute. And so far, those two things stood out.
I expected that during this training session, we learn about the role of Parliament in terms of how, as parliamentarians, as members of Parliament, we can better serve the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And especially as a new parliamentarian, I was looking forward to all of the different aspects of how Parliament can support us as we serve our constituents. I was very happy with the session on behavior, ethics, and standards, because it allowed us to understand that when we speak in Parliament, we speak not just to the members present, but especially to the younger generation. And we have to set an example for them. And I was very impressed by the way in which the presenters outline on parliamentary behavior, so that we will know what is acceptable and what is not acceptable.
I'm a new senator, an independent senator, so everything is new to me. So when I was invited to this meeting, this workshop, I didn't know really what to expect, but I expected that it would be informative and it would explain to me what the expectations are of an independent senator, and also give me guidance about how to go about my role to be the most effective senator and to do the best that I could in the circumstances. So the agenda was very helpful, and it was divided into several sessions, one being guidance for new senators, which was the new senators and parliamentarians, which was the first session of the day. So that was very informative. And what stood out to me was the experience that was brought to the table. The speakers and the facilitators were so experienced, a wealth of knowledge, decades, if not centuries of cumulative experience. Now, one of the things that stood out to me was how to go about being effective in your job. So the standing orders, for example, and also the questions and motions, and how these could be used to hold the government to account. So I'm hoping to be able to avail myself of that advice. What I enjoyed about the meeting was being able to network and to get to know my colleagues on a more informal basis outside of the chambers, and to have lunch together, to share a meal together, to a conversation in the corridor, and also the words of support and advice that came on a more informal basis. I found that very helpful. So I enjoyed meeting everyone, both government opposition and the other independents. And at the end of the day, I feel more confident and more comfortable in my role and better equipped to do my duties going forward.
I think it has been a real professional experience. I am really taken aback by the fact that you have walked into this environment and almost everybody you've met, they treat you with a level of respect. The deliveries by the different facilitators were on point, and it created a sense of belonging. And it has further created an air of expectation going forward, because I think that there is a genuine approach by all the members here to develop, especially the new members. So you're not left to feel that you're out of sorts. You're not left to feel that it is a Herculean task for you to become okura with what happens in the Parliament. As a matter of fact, I think it's a sharing environment with a difference. You see absolute willingness, and it's like if the approach is to ensure that you professionally develop all the members of Parliament so that they can be in the best position to serve the interest of Trinidad and Tobago.
And we also spoke with the Vice President of the Senate, the Honorable Kenya Charles, who had just completed a session specifically for presiding officers.
It was a very interesting session for me. It was a lot to learn as a first-time parliamentarian. It was a lot to absorb, which was very important, especially this morning as we had the presiding officers here. That really resonated with me, because although we're from different countries, we have a lot of similarities, but some differences. So while in discussions, I was able to learn from the other speakers. They being women also, sometimes we may have where the House or more members are men, and as a woman you have to be able to take control of the room or of the different chambers, but do it in a respectful manner where they will be able to respect you in and out of the chambers. Dr. Paul Richards, he spoke about the ethics, and as you may know, politics may have a morality of its own. And you know, we were just talking about the different discussions. Some people, you may, although be on opposite sides, because we are Trinidadians, our banter, we'll be able to go banter to banter with each other, but do it respectfully. So that part with me, although they said, you know, it's something that we can't stop and we won't stop, that's where it stood out with his part with the ethics that we were discussing. I think that was on the first day, which was Tuesday.
Stay tuned for further parliamentary updates. For more information, visit our website at www.ttparliament.org and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Instagram.
Parliamentary updates.